Advocate Mpofu, please switch off the mic.
Oh, okay, Chair, but you've noted me.
I do not appreciate now.
No,
I've asked you several times.
I promise you, Chair, I didn't see it was on. The same as Advocate Bauer told you the same thing. And you appreciated it then.
Advocate Mpofu, I don't think you need to go there.
No, you're the one who's going there. I'm telling you, I pressed the thing by mistake.
Several times you just pressed the mic for
Yeah,
no
but
reason.
I pressed it by mistake.
Have
Have you ever not done a mistake in your life?
the mistake is accepted.
Thank you.
Please switch it off. Thank you.
So to the extent that Advocate Mpofu yesterday accused us of targeting Black practitioners in the way the evidence was led, I make it clear that of the 8, all 7 were Black practitioners. The inclusion does not reflect much, given that the total doesn't make much significant difference to the expenditure of 147, because they are accounted for in largely figures that is to be deducted as well. We have not been involved in an orchestration to come out with any sort of nefarious motive. We endeavored to account to the committee pursuant to an instruction. We do owe an apology, and because we had flighted it publicly, we make this apology publicly to Advocate Ongwana, Advocate Sikakana, and the others whose fees we had indicated to be incorrectly. And I do acknowledge that Advocate Ongwana was instrumental in bringing this to our attention. I must also point out that we still have figures, and Advocate Ongwana and I had an exchange yesterday. My figures as provided on the invoices from the PPSA office still does not accord with the invoices which Advocate Ongwana has said. And there are numerous reasons why that is so, not based on any nefarious reasons. Sometimes it's just an arithmetic calculation based on the fees as reflected in the attorney's invoice. And given that the errors were reflected on the screen, it appears that the only way to remedy this is to flight the revised figures devised on the screen again. And Chair, those are what I wish to place on record. And in dealing with those highlighted errors, I would need to do that with Advocate van der Merwe.
Chairperson.
You only have to, you are here, you can raise a hand.
Oh, yes.
Advocate Mpofu.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm used to it.
You've already switched on your mic before you even recognize. So I'll tell you again.
I understand.
So let me pause, Advocate Bauer. Advocate Mpofu.
Thank you, Chair. So sorry, I'm used to raising my hand on the computer now. So, no, Chair, I wanted to raise an objection for what it's worth. That this issue, which is quite serious, should not be treated in this kind of fashion. As I indicated earlier, my colleagues, Advocates Kakane and Advocate Ngalwane, are here, as Advocate Bauer has said, to deal, or rather to request from you, Chairperson, to be given an opportunity to deal with this.
I'm going to ask you to do that proper.
Yes, no, I will.
Whatever you would have indicated earlier would not have been this platform. You would have either whispered to me.
Yes.
So if you have to indicate something, you're going to do it.
No, Chair, I will. Actually, you don't need to say that. That is the something that I had said earlier I was going to raise. I'm now raising.
That was my expectation.
Yes. Now I'm raising it in a different context now, in the context of the objection that I'm making. I'm saying that the Advocates Kakane and Ngalwana SC are here to address this very issue. And I would request you, Chair, that before Advocate Bauer does what she is now proposing, which is to actually repeat the offense that she has apologized for, that we deal with it at the level of giving us or me or them the opportunity to deal with it. And then at that stage, Chair, you can then rule whether it should be done. Because to do it again now, if it turns out that it was wrong the first time, then it means you're going to do it for the second time and then maybe find that it was wrong. That would be just aggravation, unnecessary aggravation. So it's an objection from that point of view, from a practical point of view, Chair. If you rule after you've had all of us on this issue, at least the victims of the offense, then you will abide by your rule. But we cannot allow it to be done beforehand, before that matter is addressed. Thank you, Chairperson.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Chair. The reason why I posed the question, Chair, with your leave, as a clarification, right? I'm not adverse to what Advocate Mpofu is suggesting. My last indication was we had been responsible for putting the incorrect figure up on the screen, which had gone out into the public domain. The only way I can see for us to correct that is to put the correct figure in the public domain. If those who we had posed an incorrect figure doesn't want to put that out into the public domain, then they must address the committee on that. What is important for us as evidence leaders to do is to put the correct figures before the committee.
Okay. Now, thank you, Advocate Bauer. I've had both of you. I think I'll hold you back on that. Let me do this. Advocate Mpofu, today and tomorrow is scheduled as cross-examination by the PP legal team. That is the us I know. There's no other us. Because I see you speaking about us and then you point towards the two legal eagles that I've seen here. I don't know through which window they came through, but they're here. And I was hoping that you would do the thing, and I'm going back to you, that you're going to have to do this properly. Is there a request you want him to make, or yes, you are saying they are here to support and listen to your cross-examination? So I would not have introduced them, and it was deliberate not to do that.
No, Chair, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because the other one, just for record, we happen to be in the same space in another institution. So we credit each other in that way. To be mentioned later.
Yes, Chair.
Advocate Mpofu.
Yes, Chair. No, we don't want to know where you met in other places.
No, it's not a request on you. I will do it.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, Chair, thank you. No, Chair, I must say I appreciate what you have done. I knew when you did not acknowledge them that you were doing it properly, because there had not been any formal issue. That's why I raised the hand earlier. I didn't anticipate that there's going to be an objection which would be warranted. And maybe, Chair, if you allow me, before I do the right thing, as you say, I just want to point out, I mean, as they say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You've already made a ruling in my favor, so I don't have to motivate after that. But
I'm not sure if I've done that yet, but proceed.
Yeah, well, at least for now, you've held it back. Yeah. No, I'm saying, Chair, that once you've made a ruling, I don't need to address it, but just allow me to point out, for the benefit of Advocate Bauer in particular, that yes, she's right about the issue of accuracy and so on. But as it will be clear, at least from me now, I'm speaking for myself, and my team, the serious objections we have on this, and it will also become clear when we do the cross-examination, are not only based on accuracy. Accuracy, if it's inaccurate, that makes it even worse. But it's about the idea of putting up people's names in vain without their having been consulted. So that's why we're objecting. We appreciate the issue of accuracy that she's trying to resolve, but unfortunately, that's not the only issue. Actually, it's a minor issue compared to the real issues here. So that's the issue about the objection. I was just putting it in perspective. Chairperson, And again, you're quite correct that we were talking informally before, so we need to do things on the record. As has already been noted by Advocate Bauer, we have in our presence members of the legal profession, members of the public, whichever way you want to look at it, South African citizens who have visited their parliament today. Advocate 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐬 SC, Moses 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐬 SC, and Advocate 𝐵𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 SC. They are members of the Pan-African Bar Association of South Africa, PABASA, and well-known advocates in South Africa. Some of the group that's called Eminent Counsel. They have asked us to request you, Chairperson, because we're the ones who have the platform to talk, to request you for them to voice their objection, formal objection, to the committee via you, Chairperson, and to the Parliament about the events of last week. I will, as I said, I will address them in
It's not me who's disturbing you.
no,
it is the public.
It's not you, Chairperson.
Yeah.
They will address. I was saying I will address the matter in my capacity as the legal representative of the public protector through cross-examination. I addressed it yesterday partly, so I don't have to address you. Safe to say that we in my personal capacity at least, I will take whatever steps might be necessary, and so will the public protector. But the two colleagues simply want to request you, Chairperson, to be given the platform with respect to voice those objections, because they are senior members of the profession. There are junior counsel and attorneys who have been affected by this quite adversely. But they are, as I mentioned yesterday, but they, because of their position in the profession, they would not be able to speak for themselves. And if they did, there would be some repercussions either on their careers, worse than what has already happened. But these two are worn-out veterans, so nothing can more harm them than, as I indicated yesterday, some of us are just, by now have a battered syndrome on this kind of overt and covert racism. But Chairperson, so that's the request really. It's for the two colleagues to speak for the people they speak for, and for us in a way, in the sense outside of our professional engagement in this committee, just in our capacity as some of the people whose names were flighted there in vain. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair. My understanding is that they have a statement which they want to deliver to you formally, and then if there's any engagement, it can follow. Thank you, sorry, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Mpofu, for that impromptu request you're making. I think the first thing that I must do, you having said what you've said, is for me as the chair on behalf of this committee first to welcome senior counsels Moses Kakane and senior counsel 𝐵𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 for being present here and having introduced them. I deliberately did not do that so that because I didn't know. I was later, if they were here in support, was going to acknowledge them as such, as you would have been supported even by ombudsmen from Kenya and Zambia and so on. am hearing your request, and I'll try and insulate the two senior counsels from this, because I don't think that from listening to you, it is clear in which vehicle they came here, that you'd have been the driver of that vehicle to bring them here.
No, I was not.
To start with, I'm not asking you to respond.
Oh, apologies, Chair.
So that's the first thing, because you make an important point, but we are running an inquiry. I would have indicated to you yesterday the importance of respecting the time of the witness, which we did yesterday. I do want to remain consistent in that, but also to indicate that as the committee, we would have no problems in listening and hearing any concerns that people will raise with us, especially as it pertains to the work that we're doing, that we have been charged to do. Where we will, I will have to come back to you, because you should have known this better, and I know you know it, that in this committee, this is day number 33 or so of witnesses, there would have been quite a number of names that would have been raised here as part of this inquiry. Some would be aggrieved by the fact that their names were raised here. And it is our responsibility that we don't close our ears and eyes, so that we must be able to hear them, and we must be able to see them in the issues that they raise, whether it's a discomfort they have. And in fact, it is our intention that, and let me make one practical example. When we dealt with the issue of the recusal of the evidence leader, Advocate Bauer, we would have received a formal correspondence from Barnabas Tolo attorneys, who wrote to us, and that's a proper thing to do, who wrote to us to say, in your committee, these issues were raised. I register as BXI. I'm just shortening that. I register our concern and discomfort, and we want clarity, and would have responded to Barnabas Tolo attorneys correctly in that way. And would even be open if at some point he makes a request that I want to address you as a committee. There is no way that this committee of the National Assembly, this tribune of the people, will refuse to hear such. I'm making that point, and I'm sharing that example, Advocate Mpofu, to say that's what would expect. As I sit here, I do not have that registered with the committee to say we've got this difficulty, we have a heavy heart about what comes out of your committee, and would want to raise this. So I think it's important that I put that up front, because we have to do things sustainably. I can't be having rules that apply to this and not apply to the others. That if many that would have their names raised would, they might not have the opportunity that the two legal eagles that I respect had, that they would have come through that door through you, but they would also want to raise certain things. So with that, I want to indicate the following, Advocate Mpofu, in dealing with this, that the committee can put me around the necklace around this, that I would still request. I will still request that both senior councils put their concerns fully in writing, because the concerns they have would be interested as the committee, even when we deliberate on the evidence that has been placed here, to consider those issues. I would urge that they do that formally, they put that in writing. If there is a further request on their side to say, we're not only putting in writing, we want to make the following points to you, I would encourage them to do that. Now that we find them in the room, I don't know whether you want to stop me, Advocate Mpofu.
No.
Please switch it off.
Sorry, Chair, it's a mistake.
Thank you. Now that we find them in the room, as a chair of the committee. So, as a chair, I'm being hijacked, but I don't see myself in danger by the hijacking. This committee is being hijacked. It might be something that will help the committee, but it is a kind of hijacking. Advocate Mpofu, you are responsible for that, because I'm going to repeat this point.
Chair, I don't want to interrupt.
Don't interrupt.
How do you know that?
You've just introduced them that they will now. Thank you. So don't deny that. You've just put it on the record. Yeah, you introduced them.
Chair, you're being unfair, but I'll respond later. I don't want to interrupt you.
There's no need for a response for that, Advocate Mpofu. So the point I'm going to ask that it be done, because I respect the time of the witness. There is no way that we would allow an unplanned situation like that and open that door that I will not be able to close for any other who might have been aggrieved and have concerns about that. And I'm saying the committee can beat me on this, but as a chair, I want as courtesy to ask both Senior Counsel Skakane and Senior Counsel Ngalwana. I was indicating, colleagues, that I think for courtesy, I'm going to ask both Advocate Skakane and Advocate Ngalwana. And I would have indicated that I want to insulate them from the points that I'm making. That having asked them, even after this, to formally put things on record and in detail, that now that they are here, unless you have a problem with that, I do want to ask them in few minutes, collectively 10 minutes maximum, to only register the point with the hope that you will go to follow, as I have indicated in writing, your concerns, so that even members of this committee have that. So I wouldn't want, even though I find you here, to just say, please leave the room. I think it would be fair that I ask you to register the point on the record, and then you will follow that up and would be amenable as the committee to further listen to that. Members of the committee, would you have a difficulty with that?